Hey, what's up, Pokemoshpit? This is Crobat for the win of Crobat for the win on YouTube, and I have a battle here today versus LosingFate96, who I don't think has a YouTube. So that's whatever. I start out with my Espeon and just go for a light screen, because I figured he probably would either be a defensive variant or he would go for like a Hydro Pump or a Thunderbolt. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp. I'm pretty sure at the time he forgot that this thing got Magic Bounce, so it's whatever. It doesn't affect the match too much anyways. He does go for the Hydro Pump, and it's going to be about a 3-hit KO at this point. And so now he switches out, goes into Scissor, and I go for a Side Shock because I just figured I'd get damage on something, and it doesn't really do anything, so I switch out, really thinking he had the Pursuit, but thankfully he doesn't use it or he doesn't go for it. And send in Heatran basically to resist the U-turn if he has it. So he goes into his Espeon as I go into my my Scrafty, basically to scare him away with the Crunch. And this turn, I thought that he would have switched out, fearing the Crunch, but he makes a smart play and goes for the Reflect, so that basically ensures he could have lived Crunch had I gone for it. Now he knows I'm faster and I can strike him with a Crunch. It'd still do a lot of damage with a +1. And he goes into Scizor just to resist the hit, that's good play. And I don't really have anything to hit a Scizor really well, and I decide I'm just going to sit and switch into Salamence to get the Intimidate off, and also to resist either the Superpower or the U-turn. So he loses his attack and defense, which is good, and his Light Screen wears off. So I go for a Dragon Dance now, and that's pretty good, I suppose, since I get a +1 in attack and speed. And yeah, he's gonna get some leftover and lose some health to burn. His Reflect also wears off. And then I made a misclick and went for a Dragon Dance again. Had I gone for the Outrage, I think it would have just KO'd. That's kind of bad, but what could I do at this point? He gets the burn off. I think my attack is, once I go for another Dragon Dance, I think that it's still higher than as if I didn't have the burn, but not by anywhere near as much as if I had the +3. So I avoid that Hydro Pump like a ninja, and since I still have more attack than normal, I figured this would be a good turn to go for the Outrage, instead of having to get him to hit a Hydro Pump, which would probably do decent amount of damage. So I get hurt by the burn again, and his Light Screen wears off. Goes into Scizor. I figured he'd Bullet Punch, and yeah, I figured since this thing was burned, I figured I'd just fodder it. So now I go into Heatran, and then he goes into his Terrakion, predicting the Fire move just to basically resist it, and it does alright damage, I gotta admit. And he goes for a Swords Dance, predicting my switch, but I'm pro, so I go for an Earth Power, and almost KOs, but not quite. So I have to go into Espeon, mostly just to fodder it. I mean, I knew this thing wouldn't live a +2 close combat, but I needed to get rid of something. So he gets his defense drops, and this turn I go into my Metagross, which is going to be able to use a Bullet Punch for the KO. So his Terrakion goes down. That was a pretty big threat gone. And I'm banded, so I have to switch out, so that won't do anything to that Fortress. I go into Heatran, kinda to scare it away, sort of. And I go for the Stealth Rock, predicting him to switch, but at the same time, he does have the Sturdy, so he doesn't necessarily have a huge reason to switch. This turn I do go for the Lava Plume, just to at least bring him down to Sturdy. So now he has the red card, and that brings me into Scrafty, which is whatever, I guess. And he goes for the Rapid Spin to bring the rocks away, which I guess isn't a terrible play. But now I have Scrafty in, and he withdraws. And he sends in Scizor, and now I go for the Dragon Dance, which was a good play, because I predicted the switch. And so I'm going to go for, well, he goes for a Bullet Punch, and he gets a decent amount of damage as I go for a Drain Punch, and it does a solid chunk to Caesar, as this thing is defensive, or fairly defensive. So I'm thinking right now I could live another Bullet Punch. And he gets a crit. And that really affected the match, as I could have KO'd a Caesar, or at least lived another Bullet Punch. So now he's locked into Bullet Punch because he himself is banded, and I just go for the Lava Plume because I don't want to overpredict too much. And it does KO the Caesar, which is good. That thing was a real threat before. So now he goes into Dragonite, and he thought I would switch, but I don't because I'm pro, and I just go for the Roar because I knew it would set up a Dragon Dance. So now he sends in his Espeon as I go into my Metagross. I have the Pursuit to try to scare him away or do some serious damage. He goes for the Psyshock, which does nothing because I dual resist it. Now he goes for the Light Screen, which isn't really going to help him. I'm surprised he didn't go for the Reflect. I think he probably would have lived that Meteor Mash had he went for the Reflect, but that's whatever, I guess. Now he goes for the Earthquake with his Dragonite, and Metagross lives it because he's such a champ, and he goes for a Meteor Mash to take out Dragonite thanks to the Life Orb recoil, and gets the attack boost, so he's looking like I said, he's looking like a champ. So I just go for a Meteor Mash despite being ineffective because that thing is 1 HP, and I take the Fortress out, and I win against LosingFate96. It was a good game, and please make sure you subscribe to Pokemoshpitbeta because they're awesome, and check out my channel. Like I said, I don't think the person that I played has a channel, but that's still okay, and take care. Peace out.